The topic for tonight is, what is the topic given? The exact wording?
Physiological measurements of states of consciousness.
Physiological measurements of the states of consciousness. I've asked Dr. John O'Hearn, an old student of Swami Rama since 1976, who was trained in these measurements way back at the Himalayan Institute under his guidance. I've asked him to first give you an introduction of what it means to have physiological measurements.
But I gave some introduction.
Oh, you did already?
I just finished a minute ago.
Oh, okay. I'd like to hear that myself. Okay. Consciousness cannot be measured by physiological measurements. And consciousness has no states. This is a fundamental principle of the meditation masters. Even after all these years and decades of hearing these lectures and reading a great deal, the language to which we are accustomed keeps misguiding us. Because we have not yet quite experienced that which the highest meditation masters experience. So the level at which we are, that is our reality. But that is not reality at all. What do we mean by the word consciousness? We always need to reinforce that understanding that when we speak of consciousness, we are not speaking of a state, of something else. The original word that we use in the languages like Sanskrit and Buddhist language Pali are not properly translated into English. Consciousness is an abstract noun depicting a state. The nouns we use in the original languages of meditation are proper nouns. Chaitanya, 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 Chit Shakti, for the want of a better word, consciousness power, consciousness force. And long ago in the 70s, when we were really laying the groundwork here, we had given many lectures on the concept of self, what exactly we mean by the word self, what exactly we mean by the word consciousness. It is not an adjective qualifying someone who is conscious. And I've been struggling to find a word in English that would be a proper noun. Haven't found one. Spanish is easier, Italian is easier, because Latin is easier. But English is not easy. and you're accustomed to this language, and that becomes very misleading. Okay. So first of all, we must understand that when we, the meditation guides, use the word consciousness, we mean a particular force, not a particular state. It's the name of a particular force. The Chit Shakti, Chaitanya, and so forth, which words form their own adjectives and adverbs in the original languages. This particular force is not constituted of many components. This consciousness force does not reside in the brain or in an organ called the heart, as some medieval thinkers used to think. It has no place of residence because it is beyond space and beyond time. The idea that something is beyond space also doesn't sink in. The philosophers have waxed prolific about these trans-spatial, trans-temporal realities in the West as in the East. Only recently this idea of transcendental force has taken a back seat in the Western philosophy. Otherwise, the entire Western philosophy, until at least the 18th century and parts of 19th century, was centered on the pursuit of the transcendental, as the philosophy of the East were. And I keep repeating it many times. And I was saying that at the Continuum Center the other day, please go back to the Western philosophy. Please return to the Western culture. Please return to the Western culture. Okay? Only then you will understand what we mean by transcendental reality. You don't have to read Sanskrit. It is all there, all the way from the founders of the Western philosophy, Thales, Pythagoras, Socrates, all the way to the American transcendentalist writers, Ralph Waldo Emerson's concept of the oversoul. Okay. Nowadays, people barely open these books. People don't read Thoreau, don't read Emerson, don't read Walt Whitman. And maybe we should have courses in Western philosophy in this center. No. Which is the Eastern philosophy, the eye of truth that is found on the dollar bills. A very Oriental symbol. Because many of the founders of American philosophy in those days were Orientalist scholars. So broken away from that in the last 100, 150 years.